Hi, Brenda. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, Dr. Deb. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
It's so good to have you, and I am so excited to share you with all of our listeners, especially because there was a time when you were a listener and
I
you were
was.
listening to other people who had been in my class or had worked with me. And that's kind of what inspired you to end up joining a group class. Isn't that correct?
It's definitely, I just realized that if they could do it, I could do it.
I love
And
that.
I mean, so many of them spoke to me. Sam, when she would sit there
Yes.
and in the morning and she would go over things, and I started doing that. And the one with the ooey gooey butter cake. When you told me, "Oh,
Yes.
put that stuff on your counter," and I'm like, "Put treats on my counter? There is no way." And just gradually, I was able to do that. It wasn't at first. I couldn't do the joy eats at first. I just wanted to get the physical and the emotional hunger down.
Yeah.
And so once I felt more comfortable understanding when I was hungry, when I wasn't,
Hmm.
I started to implement the joy eats,
Beautiful.
uh, which at first was a disaster. I mean, I didn't have a lot of control, but I thought I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep practicing because I remembered all of the people on the podcast. They just kept doing it.
I
And then,
love
I mean,
that.
and now, I mean, I can leave anything on my counter. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat it. And even if I'm hungry or want it, I'm very particular on my joy eats now.
I
I'm just
l- I love
very
that.
particular. And I remember, I think you were saying that, and I looked at you like, is she serious? But no,
So let
you
me
get to
stop
that
you.
point.
Yeah, so let
Okay,
me
go
stop
ahead.
you for a minute
Yeah,
so that we can just slow down a little
back
bit
down. Sure.
because the reason I have you on here is because of your excitement.
Mm,
And I want to share your excitement with everybody. And what you've said so far is that listening to other people come on who I have interviewed, Sam was one, and Sam
hmm
was an attorney and a
hmm
judge. And I remember when I was interviewing her, because I think that's what you're talking about is
Yes.
what a hard worker she was,
Oh
that
my
she would
goodness.
do
Yes.
all her work in the morning and that she took the work that she was doing with me as if she was getting a law degree.
She
And
did. She was very serious.
and I love that you brought her up because you remind me of her in terms of how I've seen you
Mm,
do the work that I've given you, that you've taken it on as if you're getting a law degree. That's how it seemed to me. Because when I
mhm,
would look at your journals, I mean, they were not only filled with food and your numbers, but your thoughts and your feelings and how you were talking to yourself. And I
mhm,
think that's why you're here is to kind of tell people, number one, the process that you went through, but first, what made you, because you ended up doing a group class with me,
it
what
did.
made you take that step? Like, how long had you been listening to my podcast or had you been listening to my podcast? What made you take that step? Because I know you were saying to me about your self worth. So, say a little bit about
Mm.
that.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back, to
Yeah.
October and even prior to that. And I was so desperate. I
Mm,
think, I've lost the weight, I've gained the weight, I've lost the weight, I've gained the weight. And
hmm.
I've just got so tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
And I knew there had to be, because listening to the podcast and listening to these women, and when you ask them, is this the last time, and I'm just getting choked up, is this the last time you're ever going to lose weight? And they said, yes, that's who I wanted to be. And I was scared. I was scared to call. I was scared to, get in the group. So I did actually get just, started a little, what is that little, a jump start? I think you had like a
Yeah.
little jump
Yeah,
start.
you got
So
the companion book that goes with the
I
podcasts?
I took that, yep,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I was so compelled, and I just felt so excited to be able to be a part of it. So right away, I emailed you, and then of course financially, I appreciate it because I think I was able to do 3 payments,
Uh-huh.
and for me that worked out perfect because I needed the little extra time, but I think for me it was just desperation. I was so desperate. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had pain all over. I had pain in my hip. I had pain in my shoulder. I had heartburn all the time. I was a mess. I was just a
Oh.
mess.
And, had you been listening to so you were listening to my podcast for a while before you joined the group?
Yes, well, honestly, I'd listened to your podcast, and then I had lost a bunch of weight,
Oh,
and then what happened was I gained it all back,
okay.
and so there was that missing piece, and I'm like, "What is that missing piece?" And I always said, "Something happened with my brain. It went stupid.
When you
It was
lost
my
the
think,"
weight.
and then I went back to eating the way I was eating.
Aha.
And so I went, now I've got the key. You always have to be curious. What is going on in your thinking? And we're taught that
Yeah.
to think about things, and you got to get your mind, you got to make your mind up. But I wasn't getting the whole connection. Now I've got it. It's like, and like your comeback tool, like if you get off track, just come back. And that was what I was missing is, no, I can't just go back to the way I was eating. I
Mhm.
have to stop. Eat when you're hungry. Doesn't matter what I'm eating. And I don't eat anywhere near what I was eating before. I mean, I was having brownies for breakfast. I mean, I hate to say that, but that was the truth.
Interesting.
Um, and now I have a good breakfast. I have a really nice lunch. And if I'm hungry, then I'll have a meal at night. But most times it's like two nice meals and then maybe a lighter meal at night. But
Mhm.
I'm not deprived. I've lost almost 30 pounds, but it's just been so amazing. And it was like a puzzle piece. One piece, another puzzle, another piece, another, and then all of a sudden, this little picture, I see the picture,
Oh
and
my
that's like
gosh.
the group. It was just the way that you have it, the way you outline it, it's just one more piece. And then once you get that piece, then you work on this piece, and then you get that piece. And it's like I can have a joy eat or I don't need a joy eat. I'm very particular. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny because I was at my daughter's for a couple weeks, and she goes, "Oh, right, that's right, Mom. You don't eat this kind of stuff." And I said, "Well, what is it?" And she said, "Oh, it's just one of these ice cream cones from the store." And I went, "If I have ice cream, I want it to be something really special. I don't want to just waste." And so I really noticed that
Uh-huh.
I'm really particular on my joy eats, and not that I need them all the time because I don't, because my
Uh-huh.
thinking is in order,
Uh-huh.
but I can have one and I don't
Yes.
have guilt. I don't have guilt. And
When you
that's so
eat it.
exciting for me. I can eat it. I can get on the scale. And if the scale wavers a little bit, like you taught us, sometimes you might gain a pound or two. Look back, think about what have you eaten? What did you eat? I've noticed if I eat a little bit too much salt, if I go and get like maybe some Chinese food or something, I might gain a pound or two. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, it evens out. Not that I've gone off kilter. It's just because of my body, certain
Uh-huh.
times of the month.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny because since I've done this with you, I've been on 9 different scales. I've been with family members. And so one of them, my daughter-in-law, she had hers on kilograms. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world?
That's funny.
I just almost think it was meant to be.
Yes.
Every my journey with you was meant to be. Everything that I needed, I experienced through that time. And
Uh-huh.
still, I mean, I'm still losing weight. I think I've lost 6 pounds from when our group ended.
Mhm.
And I'm
I
not
think that's
doing anything
amazing.
different. I'm still doing the same thing. Um, which I haven't really gotten off track. But if I do, or if I felt maybe I might have eaten a little bit too much, I'm
Yes.
just aware of that. And especially I've noticed like if I go out to dinner,
Yes.
because they cook a little differently and might have a little bit more fat in their foods,
Yeah.
I don't need as much.
And
And
you
so
notice that.
I've noticed that. Yes, I don't need as much. And so then I just take the rest home, have it for the next day, give it to my husband. There's no guilt if I don't eat everything. Oh my gosh, it's so freeing.
I
It's
love that. I love that.
I've
So first of all, the reason that you decided to work with me is because you felt desperate and you were sick and
desperate.
tired of feeling sick and tired.
Mhm.
and you had lost weight by just listening to my podcast, but
Mhm.
you gained it back
Mhm.
and you knew that there was a missing piece. And so is
Yes.
that what made you decide to join the group?
Yes. Yes. Because I was so desperate and in so much pain
Mhm.
physically that
Mhm.
I just thought, I've got to invest in myself. And I had never done that before. I never put myself first. I always put
Oh,
everybody else first.
I
And
know.
I thought, I don't know where it came from, but I'm like, you're going to do this. You are going
So
to do
stop.
this.
So I want you to stop because there's a lot of women just like you who don't know
Mhm.
how to put themselves first and have never invested in themselves. They've invested in everybody but themselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what gave you that inspiration to make that investment in yourself? Where did that come from to make that decision, do you think?
For me, I think it was just desperate. I just
Okay.
went, you know what? If I don't do something,
Yeah.
then what's going to happen? And
Mhm.
I'd rather do it and try it because you know what? All of these other women have done it.
Mhm.
Brenda, you can do it. And so I knew there was a missing piece, but I didn't know what it was. And that's what it was. Come back and keep focused. You always, I even, like you had mentioned many times in the group, we're going about our day and then all of a sudden, have that ice cream. Well, where did that come from? We always have to be observing of our thoughts because they just come out of the blue. Just I'll be driving down the
Exactly.
road.
And what you're
Yeah.
saying, Brenda, is that you learned because this is not an easy thing that you're talking about to be able to notice those thoughts. But that is what we teach in the group. And what I
Mhm.
teach you is how to start paying attention to those. And I can remember some of the emails that I got from you of your excitement
Mm.
when you could start seeing the thoughts
When I
that were
get it, yes,
creating these urges to eat. Like it really wasn't the food that was making you want to eat, that it was your thoughts.
yes. Well, it's funny because actually
Uh-huh.
you had said this one time because back to having this stuff on the counter, and
Hmm.
you said to me, you said, "So what you're saying, Brenda, is that food is just jumping in your mouth. You just think it's going to just jump right in your mouth." And I went, I never thought of it that way. I
So, what
thought
you're
that
referring
food,
to, so let me let everybody know what you're referring to is one of the things that I talk about is that if there's a food that you think you cannot control, that is the food you actually want to keep it. You don't want to get rid of it. You want to keep it in your house.
correct,
Right. And what you're referring to is that when you would keep something in your house that you really like that you thought you couldn't control, somehow you thought it was going to get in your mouth and you didn't know how, but it was going to end up in your mouth. And that's when I said, what do you think it's going to do? Just jump in your mouth. I mean, you had to be
exactly,
the one to decide. And I think that gave you, it's like, oh my gosh, I have a brain and I can decide if I want to put it in my mouth or not.
correct. And then also, what you would
What's
say
that?
too is think of what you're thinking. Because if you're saying, "Oh
Yeah.
boy, that really looks good," and "Oh my gosh," you're going to eat it. But if I say, you know what? If I want it later, I might have it, but maybe I might not. It's my decision. I've taken that control back and there's such freedom. I feel so free, but I've practiced. I mean, I've been to buffet, all you can eat buffets. I've
Yeah.
been to
Say something about that.
restaurants.
Say something
You know,
about that.
I've been to all you can eat buffets. And what I used to do is I eat as much as I could eat. And I was so full. And I thought, I don't want to do that. So I practiced. And it's so neat because I would go and I'd look at the buffet, I'd look at all the food, and then I'd get in line and I'd take a little bit of the things of the food that I thought I would like. And then if I was still hungry, I would go back and then eat to two until I was full. What a freeing experience. But I decided ahead of time before I got there. So I was always mindful. I didn't go there and go, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. And, I went there with intention. I
Yeah.
went there with purpose. I was just going to eat what I liked. And if I didn't like it, it was okay to waste it. I would just shove it to the side on my plate, where before I felt compelled to eat it. It's okay not to eat it.
It's
Because
so
what is that
amazing.
saying? What is that saying? Either you put it on your waist or you throw it in, put waste
You
it.
either waste
And
it, WASTE, or you waste it, WAIST.
yeah, and I think the other important part of that is because my daddy grew up very poor, and so we had to eat
Yeah.
all of our food.
Uh-huh.
But I think one of the most important things, as you said, is, you know what? If we could bring it to the kids that needed the food, we would,
Yes.
but we can't. And so that was the freeing part for me is, yes, you're right, Dr. Deb. If I could send this
Yeah.
food to somebody, I definitely would, but we can't. And so it's okay to throw it in the garbage, because then otherwise we're overeating, and it's going to be just that constant snowball effect. We're going to still constantly be doing the same thing. And I really desired to change. I mean, I did. I took this so seriously. It was almost like a college course.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. I think that's why I think you were so successful at this is because you took it seriously. You treated it as if you were in school getting a degree.
Mm,
This is my take on you. And many
mhm.
people in the group were like this. And I think that's
Yes.
how you get what you want with this work because it is work. And I do give you step by step instructions. And I
Mhm.
think that you took every instruction that I gave you and you worked it until you understood it. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I really did. And some of the things took me a while, but
Huh?
I didn't give up. Like the figuring out the twos. And it's funny because I go back and look at my food journals from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I was probably eating to +4, but that was okay because I didn't know. But now I know. I know what a +2 feels like. I know what a -2 feels like.
Yeah.
And so, and then the other interesting thing is like, if I'm going to like a party, or if I'm going to,
Yes.
like I went to Thanksgiving with friends,
Hmm.
you reminded us it's okay to just eat a little bit before. So you're not really hungry. I did that. I went, I had a little bit of each thing, and then I went, you know what, I'm gonna have a joy eat. And so I took two little slivers of pie. That was enough. It's like a miracle. It was like a miracle. Honestly, it
Mm.
was. But like you said, I did it. You gave us the instructions. I read the book and I did the work
Yes.
faithfully. And I kept doing it until I got it. Even if I falter, I would just go, okay, you know what? What were you thinking? What was going on? And
Hmm.
so gradually I would get it. I would get the next one. I'd get the next one. Then I'd work on the scale work. And then I would work, loving myself. That was a big one.
Talk about loving yourself and how that process for you because this is a big one for everybody and you sent me a couple emails and telling me I think I'm beautiful.
Mm,
And I mean,
girl, it's just,
I really think and it's not like you look that much different physically. It's that you changed your head so much about
mhm,
looking at yourself that you
mhm,
could see your own beauty, but that was work
mhm,
that you did.
mhm,
It didn't just
faithfully.
happen because I said it.
No, I mean, it was practice. I mean, just like everything else, I'd have to look in the mirror and if I couldn't do it, I would say, okay, now Dr. Deb just said to say it. So I would say it, even if I didn't feel it, I just did it and I
Mhm,
just did it. And I still do it. I
mhm.
still look in the mirror and go, wow, well, and the biggest thing for me lately is, wow, you've really changed. And not only outer, but inside, I just feel so free. In my mind, I don't have all those compulsive thoughts about food, and I don't have those compulsive thoughts of what should I eat? Should I eat that? Can I eat that? And then Monday would come, and then I'd start all over. And just like the joy eats, and just like the food in the pantry, and just
Yeah.
like all of the sugary foods, it's just food. And Monday is just another day.
Oh my gosh, Brenda. So, I mean, like, this is what everybody wants. I'm pretty sure everybody that's listening to this wants what you're talking about. And
Yes.
when I was interviewing other people prior to you, you
Hmm.
were wanting what they were talking about. So,
Yes.
you will be a great inspiration to people who are listening. That this thinner piece process is available. It works if you're
Hmm.
willing to work it And I think what you're saying that's so important, Brenda, is that you didn't let yourself give up.
No,
And
I
how
was
did you do
determined.
that? Because you must have had some frustrating times.
Oh my gosh, I went through the realm, when you gave us the paperwork with all of our feelings. Well, in
Yes,
the beginning, all I had was sad, mad, angry,
that's a good start.
but you know,
Yeah.
and then I looked at the list and I'm like, I'm excited, I'm determined, I'm encouraged, I'm empowered, I'm happy, I'm joyful. I didn't know I had all those there were so many feelings. But yes, I purpose to do it. And actually, almost every day, I would try to figure out what that feeling would feel like. I would go down the list and I'd go, okay, what would this feel like? Because I hadn't felt it in so long.
Hmm.
And it just like everything else, it just took practice. If I faltered, if I fell, I would just go, okay, be curious. Dr. Deb says, be curious, not furious. What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I thinking? Where are my emotions today? And so I would and then other thing is it's okay to ask for help,
Mm,
and I'm not alone. And that's why I love the group, is not that you want others to be like you, but you're happy that you're not alone.
yeah.
It's such a weird place to be. But yeah, and I mean, I would see myself in others, and I just thought, and then I would see them get it. And I'm thinking, man, if I'm sure getting it too.
Hmm.
I'm sure that they're seeing a change in me because it's just right before your eyes. So
Hmm.
definitely, um, but loving myself enough to know that I was worth it. That took a process. I mean, that was a process for me,
Uh-huh.
because I was so angry and I was so hateful to myself. Some of the things I would say to myself, and you said, would you say that to your grandchild? And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, of course not.
Hmm.
Why do you think it's okay to say it to yourself?
Mm,
Not even thinking, yeah, why is it okay?
mm.
My parents didn't talk to me that way. So why would I think it's okay to do that to myself?
Why do you think it
Oh,
was okay? Why do you think it was okay?
I think I thought it was okay because, and I think somebody said this. If I thought if I was going to be nice, then I'd be wimpy and I'd go, "Oh, you'd eat more."
Yeah.
No, it's the opposite.
Uh-huh.
I looked at myself and went, you know what, you're worth this. You're worth it.
Uh-huh.
And so then I felt, and then I would just think, okay, you're worth it. And then on my food journal, I would write my compelling reason, and I would read it when I'd write in my food
What was
journal.
your compelling reason? What was your compelling
Mine
reason?
Mine still is, but
Yeah.
it's to be at peace with myself and freedom around food.
Uh-huh. And
That's what my compelling reason. And I have freedom. I have peace that I haven't had for years. And Dr. Deb, I can go anywhere, anytime, any place and feel totally comfortable around food. Actually, one day we have this favorite place that we like to go for
yeah.
pizza. And my husband will kind of hint, like, oh, honey, are we going to get pizza today? And I had a really nice breakfast. And so he doesn't eat breakfast, he just eats later.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh boy, I just ate, but yeah, I'll go get him a pizza. And so I got him a pizza, and it was one of our favorites. And I went, but you're not hungry. And so I didn't eat that pizza
Wow.
until later. And so as these things are happening, I'm like, this is what freedom feels like.
Uh-huh.
But but I did the work. I went to buffets. I practiced. I went to restaurants. I had food on my counter. I went to other people's homes. I mean, I practiced it. And did I? Yeah, I would fall. I would eat a little too much, or my thinking would get off track.
Hmm.
But then I'd come back again. It's okay, because I was just learning. And you kept telling us, you know what? You're just learning. I'm 63. How many years have we done the same
Yes.
thing?
Mm.
And we can't just expect, oh boy, I'm going to get it.
Hmm.
I've gotten it. I mean, it's taken 6 months, because we started in October. It's been
That's
six
right.
months.
Hmm.
And like you said, will I be perfect? No, we won't be perfect, but we just
For sure.
keep going forward.
Is the
And
way that you're thinking, and it's really good for people who are listening to you, is
mhm,
that even when things don't go the way you want, you just keep going forward and you keep sticking with it. And I think that is your motto, is that you're never going to give up and you're always going to stick with it. And I think you're
that's it.
100% have that way of thinking that keeps you like, you've got your own back. You know it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
know it listening to you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I have all the tools, and even like that last day with you, Dr. Deb,
Yeah.
you just went over things specifically and you said, "You know what? And if anything, I'm always here for you, but you have the tools. Go back to your worksheet. Go back to the." And honestly, I kind of still do. Not that I'm that I need to, but I just always like to just be determined. And then also what I've done
Determined.
is I've got several sisters. So I've
Yeah.
actually started working with them. Together we've lost over 110 pounds. We've lost a sister. So we go over your worksheet, and then I took all of your podcasts and cataloged them. So I have them all, one through how many, 400 and something.
You have done some work.
You bet
And
I
your
did
sisters are the recipients.
of it. But
Uh-huh.
you know what, Dr. Deb,
What?
if it really wasn't for you, I mean, yes, you always tell us we do the work, but if it really wasn't for you, I mean, you've saved our life. I mean, I got a message from one of my other sisters and she said, "You've saved our lives." I mean, you've saved our lives. One of my sisters, she's a diabetic and her A1C was so high. Now it's down oodles percentage. I've got another sister, my younger sister. She said, "Well, I'm going to do it with you guys because I don't want to be the only overweight one in the group." My other sister said, "I had my birthday and I was eating my cake." And she said, I had enough. And she said, "I looked at the cake again." And she said, she saw my face in the cake.
She saw your face in the cake.
She goes, "I didn't see Dr. Deb because I wasn't working with Dr. Deb." Because I would say, "Dr. Deb, Dr. Deb."
Yeah.
And she said, "No, I saw your face." And I'm like, "Oh
Oh,
my gosh." And then the other miracle is my other sister. She said, "I looked at the clock, it was noon." And she said, "So I made myself a sandwich." And she said, "I sat down, I took 2 bites and went, I'm not even hungry." She put it in a baggie and she put it in the refrigerator
because she wasn't hungry.
because she wasn't hungry.
What a
And
concept.
so they're getting it.
Yeah.
Because even when I said, "No, this isn't a diet. It's not a diet. It's going to be a way of life." And they're like, "Right." And actually, on the group I put, "Is this the last time you'll ever want to lose? Or is this the last
Yes.
time you're going to lose weight?"
Why is this the
That's
last time?
why. Yes, and that's our little motto.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. And I told them, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to give up on you guys. You're going to do it too. And so, yeah, 5 of us are doing it together. And I think that's another encouraging thing for me too, is just to be able to pass it, to just give it forward
Pay it
to
forward.
somebody else, pay it forward. That's it. That is it.
I
And
love
so,
it
yeah,
that I
it's
give it
just,
to you and then you give it to others and those others give
yes.
it and it just keeps on going. That makes my work incredible. That is the miracle,
Mhm.
of that's what makes me do what I do is because I know when I talk to you, I don't know
Mhm.
how many other people are going to be influenced by you.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it's just like you said, like Dorothy, you've had it all along. And we don't realize it. We do, but we just need a little help. That's all it is. We just need a little help along the way to just get our thoughts cleared because society has it so backwards. It's like, follow this, do that, eat 4 of these, 2 of
Mhm.
these. And so we don't even know that we're hungry. We don't even know it's hunger. And so it just takes practice. It just takes a bunch of practice. But I would highly, highly recommend anybody, don't even think twice. Make the phone call, do the group, do the one-on-one. It is, you will not be they won't be disappointed. As long as they're willing to put in the work, you won't be disappointed. And I
In
put
other words, I'm
110.
not going to take a magic wand and I'm not going to wand it over them and it's just going to happen.
No, you have to do your part, definitely. But it's going to be worth it. I mean, I'm living proof right here. I am living proof. I am a totally different woman. And it's not even just about the food. It's not really even about the weight. It's all of it. It's the thinking. And in the beginning, I lost a little weight, but I didn't concentrate on the weight. I concentrated on eating when I was hungry, stopping when I was full.
Mhm.
Eating when I was hungry, stopping when I'm full.
Mhm.
Did the 10 minutes. Then I did the exercise. I do the 10 minutes. Dr. Deb, I'm walking 5 miles.
Oh my gosh.
5 miles. I was doing 10 minutes. I could hardly do my
You were
my
doing
hip
10
was
minutes of
so bad.
walking to begin with?
10 minutes.
Because
Yes.
that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning
Yeah.
about the
Just do 10
minimums.
minutes if you can. Yeah, I did the 10 minutes, and just gradually I felt better as I started moving, my body felt better. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do 12 minutes. I'll do 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And then I would go a mile, or I would go 2 miles. And then I
Wow.
was like, I'm up to 5 miles. Sometimes I do 6 miles.
Uh-huh.
It's like, it's exciting. I mean,
That's why I have you on here, is
63.
because you're exciting. That's why I have
It's
you
it.
on here.
But it's worth it. Oh my gosh, it's so worth it. I mean, I have so many notes here. It's yeah.
Well, I
But
want to
you know
just
what?
I want to stop you for 1 minute just to talk about,
Okay.
because for a lot of people with exercise, the way that I talk about it is that you start with a minimum and a
Mhm.
small amount, like start at
Mhm.
10 minutes,
Mhm.
and you can do more if you want, but you just start with 10 minutes
Mhm.
and you stick with the plan that you made of 10 minutes,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and then you notice how you're feeling before and after, before
Right.
you walk and after you walk. And I
Right.
think what you're saying, the way you got up to 5 miles, was that you noticed that as you started doing a little bit, you were actually starting to feel better, which encouraged you to want to do more, as opposed
Yes.
to, there's something wrong with me. I have to do something I hate to do, which makes you not
Yeah.
want to do it
Right.
and makes you
It's your
think that
think
there's
it's my
something
thinking
wrong.
again. It's my thinking again.
Yeah.
And even when you mentioned about walking in the rain,
Yeah.
I'm like, Dr. Deb,
Yeah, so
really?
tell everybody, because you sent me an email with you,
Yes.
a picture of you in the rain.
I was wet, yes. And as I'm walking, because I went, okay, you know what? You've done everything Dr. Deb has said. It's raining. You're going to walk. You're going to do this. She said, you're going to enjoy it. And I went, okay, whatever. So I'm walking. And as I'm walking, I'm like, what difference is it? I go in the pool all the time. Why wouldn't I walk in the rain? It was invigorating. I walk in the rain all the time now. It's no big deal. So you get wet. I got wet. My hair was wet. Who cares?
So you
Yeah,
changed your thinking about walking
I
in the rain. You
I
changed
changed
your
my thinking.
thinking about Joy Eats. You changed your thinking about joining the group into believing that you were worth it and you were worth the investment. And you
Mhm,
changed your thinking on your own beauty.
mhm.
It wasn't
Yes,
like all of this physically just changed, even though you are beautiful, but you were
right,
beautiful and didn't see it.
right. Yeah,
And
and that
now
was my
you're the
thinking.
same beautiful woman and you do see it and
Yes,
you do think
yes,
it.
yes, I
And
do,
it does feel
definitely.
like a miracle, but it's the miracle that you created
Mhm.
by
Yes,
changing your own perception.
yes, definitely, definitely. It's you know what? It's so worth it. It's so you are so worth it. You
Thank you.
really are. You really
Thank you.
are. And I thank you so much. I feel
Thank you,
honored
Brenda.
to be able to be there, to be able to take your group class. I really was honored to be there.
Thank
It was
you.
a
And
good
what would you
thing.
say to
Yeah.
somebody else who's on the fence to either work individually or in the group with me? What would you say to them that might help them make that decision? Because they were probably thinking just like you.
Yeah, I would just say make the call. I mean, even just make the call and talk to you, because I think all of their fears, all of their everything will just be it'll just dissipate, because you just see us. You just see us where we are, and then because they'll be so encouraged, they're going to want to do the group, or the one-on-one. For
Mhm.
me, the group worked well. I liked working with the group, but some people won't. Some people want to do the one-on-one. I got just as much out of some you coaching somebody else
Exactly.
as when you were coaching me.
Hmm.
And that you would say that too, and it's true. I mean, it's definitely true. But no, I just think look in the mirror and just tell yourself you're worth it, because it's an investment in ourselves, but also it's an investment in our children, in our husbands, in our spouse. our partners. I mean, it's an investment to the world because we start to feel better about ourselves. And then that oozes out to others. And I see that. I mean, I've got my little grandkids saying, now, is this a joy eat, Grandma? I mean, it's
Brenda,
just, yeah.
Brenda, the best thing about my day today was having this conversation with you. I
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for being on my podcast and sharing your process and um, giving hope to other people, and also confirming to me that when I made this decision to do this work, that it was the best decision that I ever made. So I thank
Definitely.
you for
Yeah.
being here today.
I'm actually looking into being a weight loss coach. So that's how much I'm encouraged.
Wonderful. Well, we can talk about that.
Sounds good. Yeah,
But for
sounds good.
today, thank you so much for being
Yes.
here, and you are beautiful.
Thank you for asking me. I love you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.